Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. So today is Galentine's Day, and since I recently did a video on some of my favorite romances, my favorite male friendships of a romance, I thought today would be a perfect excuse to finally do a video for some of my favorite female relationships in romance books. All of these I'm so excited to share with you all. Girls and women just rooting for each other, supporting each other, and probably sometimes teasing each other as well. I love reading that, and I think all of these books have great examples of those kinds of female relationships, whether it's like in a group or just between two best friends. So let's get started with the first series that popped in my head when I thought about strong female relationships, and that is the Wallflower series by Lisa Kleypas. I only have the last 3 books in the series in paperback. I'm missing the very first one, but all 4 books center around this group of wallflowers. Annabelle, Lillian, Evie, and Daisy, who are the 4 heroines of this series. They all befriend each other. Daisy and Lillian are actually sisters too, but they all befriend each other over their wallflower status. To society, they're not exactly the cream of the crop, which is why they've always been seen as outsiders, but when they band together, they create this really wonderful friendship that's super supporting, and they all vow to help each other out to get out of their wallflower status. And of course, one by one, they each find their heroes, the love of their lives, and fall in love. In book 1, Secrets of a Summer Night, Annabelle is like the most motherly and kind of queenly of them all. Definitely the one that is the most calm of them all, and once she finds her love and starts her own family, all the other 3 wallflowers turn to her, looking to her for advice. Annabelle needs to marry for money as the oldest of her family with no father. She is prepared to make a sacrifice of marrying someone that she doesn't love, but then ends up falling in love with her pursuer, Simon. In book 2, It Happened One Autumn, Lillian is the most fiery, hot-headed of them. She makes like impulse decisions, and she's definitely the most entertaining of all the wallflowers. Lillian is an American heiress. She comes from a family of money, but they're not titled. She has a bit of an enemies to lovers relationship with one of the most influential men in London. In Devil in Winter, Evie is the shyest one. She has a slight stutter, but of course when she's with her best friends, who she's always felt the most comfortable with, her stutter lessens. Evie has a marriage of convenience with the most devilish and man whore of all man whores. She absolutely would never have offered a marriage of convenience with Sebastian if it were not for her friendship with these 3 ladies. And then last, book 4, Scandal in Spring. This one is Daisy's book, and she is the bookish one of them all. She always has her head in the pages, daydreaming all the time. She's the most imaginative of them all, and definitely a daydreamer who longs for love. Daisy has an opposites attract kind of romance where she is very daydreamy and flighty. Matthew is very stoic and logical. They've known each other since their young teenage years, but now they're finally seeing each other for the first time in about a decade and realizing that they might be more suited to each other than they think. They all make such wonderful best friends. I adore this series so much. I finally finished it earlier this year, and I already want to reread them all again. Next is the Central Park Pact series by Lauren Lane. Of course, I had to include these books into this list just because I adore all of these books. They're centered around 3 women who have all been cheated on by the very same man and at the same time as well, and they all figure it out when they attend his funeral. The second book's heroine, Claire, was actually married to the guy as well, so he sucked, but these ladies do not. Instead of, you know, being jealous and catty, they realized that they were all wronged by the same man, and they formed this bond that they obviously don't share with anyone else. Through their friendships, these 3 women, Naomi, Claire, and Audrey, they make a vow to help each other out when it comes to their love lives so that they can let each other know when they spot like another guy just like their cheating ex and help them avoid them. In the first book, we've got a kind of enemies to lovers relationship where the main characters have known each other since they were little. The heroine, Naomi, her mother used to work as a maid for Oliver's very wealthy family, and now they are neighbors who like to get on each other's nerves. Book 2, Love on Lexington Avenue, we've got a widowed Claire who ends up falling for her very grumpy contractor. And last is a friends to lovers fake engagement romance between Audrey and her best friend Clark. They are fade to black as well, so if you don't like your books too steamy, these books are great. There's so many great girl talks in this series, lots of wine time for sure. Lauren Lane just knows how to write relationships between women so well. I know she has a couple other series that have really strong female relationships, but I just went with this series. This next one is not a girl group, but rather two best girlfriends. I mean, they do have a couple other girls in their friendship group, but the friendship between these two ladies just shined so well for me, and it is the All the King's Men Duet by Kennedy Ryan. Book 1 is The Kingmaker, and I freaking love the friendship between Kimba and Lennox. Lennox is our heroine. As a best friend, Kimba just rocks. She is incredibly supportive, but also knows how to tell it like it is. She holds nothing back and encourages Lennox to chase her dreams, and then as they become adults, they actually create this political consulting firm that they both co-own and work together at. So this friendship is rock solid and years in the making. I just love these two, and I'm so happy that Kennedy Ryan is writing a book for Kimba. It's releasing in May. It's a second chance romance, can be read as a standalone. You don't have to read these two books, although I would recommend it. The duet is wonderful. It's a blend of romance, second chance romance, politics, the heroine's Native American culture, and also the hero's ambition to save the planet. Very similar to the Wallflower series is the Sinful Wallflower series by Stacey Reed. Only the first book is out so far, My Darling Duke, which I really enjoyed. But this is also another group of ladies. I think there are 5 of them. They're all wallflowers and they want to be more than that, so they kind of concoct these scandalous scenes to bring them out of their wallflower status. They basically take what they want a little bit more forward than Lisa Kleypas's Wallflower series. Only one of them so far has achieved what she wanted. This is Kitty, our heroine. She basically pretends to be this duke's fiance, this reclusive duke's fiance, so that she'll have a higher status in society and it'll help her sisters get married. Of course, she doesn't expect our reclusive, scarred duke to find out about her scheme, and now she also has to resist falling for him. It's a really great and unique story, even though like the series is fairly similar to the Wallflowers, but I am really looking forward to the rest of the series. I really hope the other 4 ladies get their own books. I think we have a hint of who the second book will be about, and there's probably some marriage of convenience involved. Another series that also has only 1 book out so far, but I have to include it in this list, is Kerrigan Byrne's Devil You Know series, and the first book is How to Love a Duke in 10 Days, another historical romance. The 3 books in this series are about 3 best friends who meet at like a boarding school. In this prologue, our heroine Alexandra is raped by the headmaster of the school and kills him. And no hesitation, her 2 best friends Cecilia and Francesca, they help her bury the body and cover up the murder. They are very much the ride or die kind of best friends, and over the years that pass by, the 3 of them are always there to support each other. Alexandra's best friends are there when she meets a man and falls in love for the very first time, and even though Alexandra is terrified to be with another man, she knows she has her 2 best friends to turn to about those fears. The second book in the series, All Scott and Bothered, is coming out in a couple more months. I'm really excited, but I don't think we know exactly whether it's Francesca or Cecilia just yet. Next, I've got the Sometimes in Love series by Melanie Johnson. I've only read the second and third book. The second one is Smitten by the Brit, and the third is Once Upon a Bad Boy. It's about a group of 5 best friends, although only 3 of them get their books, and they're all so hilarious and fun together. I remember there's this one scene in book 2 where they talk about blowjobs and how to give a really great one. Bonnie, the heroine of book 2, has never given a BJ. They're in the middle of planning the first couple's wedding. So in the midst of all that, one of the best friends goes out and grabs a popsicle off of like some ice cream stand, I guess, and starts demonstrating how to give a good one. It's such a funny scene. I loved it. I love that they talk about the third heroine, Sadie, puking on her first boyfriend when she tried to give him head. The series is just really adorable, wholesome, contemporary romances. In book 1, we've got a girl who travels to Scotland and ends up falling for a gorgeous Scottish guy. I think they go backpacking in Europe in this one, but I haven't read it yet. In book 2, we've got an English professor who falls for a Brit. She finds out that her now ex is cheating on her, and she decides to go to London for this really great job opportunity and to live out her Jane Austen dreams. And the third book is a second chance romance with Sadie and Beau. Sadie is an actress trying to make it big, and Beau is the stunt manager for the new movie that she's working on. And last is the longest series with the biggest girl group, and that is the Knitting in the City series by Penny Reed. There are 7 books in the series, so it's a long one, but all of them can be read as standalones, except for like the 0.5s that are either like a prequel or a sequel to one of the couples. It's a wonderful series. I love it. The first book is Neanderthal Seeks Human. I actually read this book first and then jumped all the way to book 4.5 and 5 when I first started this series, and then continued on from there, and then a year later went back and caught up on like books 2 through 4. So I kind of read this series out of order, one of the few times that I do. But yeah, all of these 7 ladies are best friends. They first met when they decided to form a knitting club that meets up every Tuesday night. I love this premise. It is so unique. I love the love for knitting in this series. I kind of knitted a little bit back in like middle high school, but I stopped when I went to college. But reading these books always makes me want to start up knitting again. Whenever all 7 of the ladies are together at their knitting nights, they're always such a riot. Drinks, discussions about anything and everything. And I also love when they start to fall in love. They bring their significant others to the knitting night, and the husbands and boyfriends also start up knitting as well. I won't go through each of these books just because there's a ton of them, but I want to say that my favorite is Dating-ish. This one is so funny and charming. I love Marie and Matt so much. Marie is a journalist who is pro human interaction, whereas Matt is a professor who is pro AI, artificial intelligence, replacing all of these human interactions. So the two of them are trying to prove their points, and they attend like cuddling sessions and orgasm meditations together. It's so cute, a bit of a slow burn just because they form a friendship first before they start falling for each other. I just love this series, and I love all of the women that Penny has created for the series. They're all such amazing friends, and even though there are a lot of them, 7 of them, each of them has their own distinctive voice and personality. But in the end, they complement each other so well. So that is my list for some of my favorite female friendships in romance books. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you have some of your own favorite friendships, female friendships. As always, I'll leave a link to the books that I mentioned in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!